Guess they hire anyone now. Captain Christopher Wade's voice cuts through the Friday night buzz of the anchor like a blade through silk. Sharp, deliberate, loud enough for 40 people to hear. The kind of cruelty that wears a smile. Aaliyah Torres doesn't flinch. She's on her knees, surrounded by shattered glass and spreading pools of amber liquid. 6, maybe 7 pint glasses lie broken across the scuffed hardwood floor of the bar just outside Naval Base Coronado. Her hands move methodically, picking up the larger shards first, depositing them into her black plastic tray with practiced efficiency. The laughter ripples outward from Christopher's table like a stone thrown into still water. Low chuckles, a few whistles. Someone mutters something about Butterfingers. The bar sits just beyond the main gate, close enough to smell the salt air rolling off the Pacific, far enough to pretend civilian rules apply. Wood-paneled walls hold decades of Navy history, framed photographs of SEAL teams past, plaques commemorating operations no one talks about anymore. The ceiling fans turn lazy circles, pushing around air thick with the smell of beer, fried food, and something else. Testosterone, maybe, or judgment. Aaliyah's uniform is simple. Black polo shirt with the Anchor's logo stitched over the heart. Dark jeans. Non-slip shoes that squeak slightly on wet floors. Her brown hair is pulled back into a tight bun, not a strand out of place. At 5 feet 4 inches, she's unremarkable in a room full of warriors. Easy to overlook, easy to underestimate. Christopher leans back in his chair, arms crossed over a chest that speaks of hours in the gym. He's 38, built like a linebacker, with hair clipped military short and a jawline that could cut diamonds. His polo shirt bears the SEAL Trident over the left breast. Real gold thread. The kind you earn, not buy. He wears it like armor, like proof. I mean, seriously, Christopher continues, playing to his audience of 4 other SEALs crowded around the high-top table. Standards must be slipping. Next thing you know, they'll let anyone serve us. More laughter. One of his buddies, a younger operator with a fresh sunburn across his nose, slaps the table. Aaliyah's jaw tightens, just for a heartbeat, then smooths. Her gray eyes remain fixed on the task. Pick up glass. Place in tray. Repeat. The breathing comes automatically. 4 seconds in through the nose. 4 seconds hold. 4 seconds out through the mouth. 4 seconds hold. The pattern her father taught her before she could write her own name. Then she sees it. The ring. It's rolled under Christopher's chair, barely visible in the dim lighting. Silver, but not the cheap kind. The metal catches what little light filters down from the overhead fixtures, throwing back a dull gleam. Aaliyah's hand freezes for half a second, long enough for her pulse to skip, not long enough for anyone to notice. She reaches for it, slow, careful. Her fingertips brush the cold metal just as Christopher's boot comes down, trapping her hand against the floor, not hard enough to hurt, hard enough to make a point. Well, well. Christopher bends forward, looking down at her. What do we have here? He lifts his boot, and Aaliyah pulls her hand back. The ring comes with it, clasped between her thumb and forefinger. She rises to her feet in one smooth motion, no wasted movement, and that's when Christopher plucks it from her grasp before she can close her fist. Nice prop. He holds it up to the light, turning it slowly. The trident gleams, eagle, anchor, and pistol, all forged into a single symbol. Every SEAL knows that image. Most civilians do too, thanks to movies and recruitment posters. But this one is different. The weight is right. The detail is precise. The wear patterns along the edges speak of years, not weeks. Christopher's smile doesn't reach his eyes. eBay special? The bar has gone quieter, not silent. The jukebox in the corner still pumps out classic rock, and conversations continue at the other tables. But there's a bubble of attention now, centered on this moment, on Aaliyah's outstretched hand, on Christopher's mocking grin. Give it back. Aaliyah's voice is low, controlled. Each word costs her something. Why? Christopher tilts his head, all faux innocence. This yours? Because last I checked, you're serving drinks, not diving in Coronado. It belonged to my father. The words land like a grenade with the pin still in. Christopher's expression flickers, just for a moment. Then the mask slides back into place. Funny. My father used to say that too. He pauses, lets the silence stretch. Before he realized lying about service is a federal offense. Aaliyah's hand doesn't waver. I'm not lying. Sure you're not. Christopher tosses the ring into the air, catches it one-handed. Tell you what, you want this back? Prove it's legit. Otherwise, he slips it into his pocket. Finders keepers. In the corner booth near the bar's front window, a man who's been nursing the same beer for an hour straightens slightly. Chief Petty Officer Raymond Ramirez, retired, age 65, wearing a worn leather jacket over a faded SEAL veteran t-shirt and a baseball cap pulled low. His weathered face, all hard lines and sun damage, turns toward the commotion. His eyes narrow. Aaliyah holds Christopher's gaze for 3 full seconds. Then, without a word, she turns and walks toward the back. Her hands are steady. Her breathing remains even. 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out. 4 hold. The tray of broken glass doesn't rattle. Christopher watches her go, then turns back to his buddies. You see that? Probably bought it at a military surplus store. People like that make me sick. Ease up, Wade. The voice comes from a booth near the back wall. Deeper, older. Commander Grant Hale sits with 2 other officers, all in civilian clothes but carrying themselves like they're still in uniform. Grant is 52, gray threading through his close-cropped hair, with the kind of lean build that speaks of distance running rather than powerlifting. His face is weathered in the way of men who've spent years squinting into sun and wind. The lady's just trying to do her job. Just calling it like I see it, sir. Christopher's tone carries the barest edge of respect, but only because rank demands it. Stolen valor is everywhere these days. Grant says nothing. He lifts his water glass, takes a slow sip, and returns his attention to the conversation at his table. But Aaliyah notices, as she pushes through the swinging door into the kitchen, that his eyes follow her, calculating, considering. The kitchen is all stainless steel and harsh fluorescent lighting. The smell of fryer grease hangs heavy. 2 cooks work the line, barely glancing up as Aaliyah dumps the broken glass into the trash. She moves to the small employee break room off to the side, a closet-sized space with a single folding chair and a scratched mirror on the wall. She pulls a small cloth from her pocket, unfolds it carefully. Inside sits an identical ring. The real one. The one Christopher just pocketed is a replica, swapped so smoothly that no one noticed her hand dipping into her apron pocket during those seconds on her knees. Sleight of hand, learned from a father who believed in redundancy. Aaliyah cleans the ring with slow, deliberate strokes. The trident catches the light. Her thumb traces the worn inscription on the inner band, letters so small they're almost invisible. R. Torres, Rafael Torres, Ghost 1. Not yet, Dad, she whispers. The door swings open. Sarah Brennan leans in, 31 years old, wearing the khaki uniform of a Navy lieutenant. Her auburn hair is pulled back in a regulation bun, and her blue eyes carry genuine concern. You okay? Fine. Aaliyah slips the ring onto a chain around her neck, tucks it under her shirt. That was Wade, wasn't it? Captain Jerk himself. Sarah moves fully into the room, lets the door close behind her. They've known each other since high school, back when Aaliyah was just a military kid bouncing between bases, and Sarah was the daughter of a Marine gunnery sergeant. 2 girls who understood what it meant to grow up in the shadow of service. Want me to file a complaint? No point. Aaliyah stands, smooths her shirt. He's not wrong. From where he's sitting, I'm just the help. You're more than that. He doesn't know that, and that's the point. Aaliyah checks her reflection in the mirror. Face composed. No trace of anger or hurt. Just professional neutrality. How much longer on those access logs? Sarah's expression shifts. Another 48 hours, maybe less. The archive system is ancient, but I'm working on it. Good. Aaliyah turns back to face her friend. Because he's getting nervous. Did you see how fast he grabbed that ring? He recognized it. You sure? Positive. Aaliyah moves toward the door, hand on the frame. Which means he remembers what happened in 2015. And if he remembers, he's worried about who else might. She pushes back through into the main bar. The crowd is thickened. More SEALs, more support staff, more civilians who like to drink near warriors. The noise level has risen. Someone's started a game of darts near the back wall. The jukebox has moved on to some country song about trucks and heartbreak. Aaliyah returns to her section, picks up where she left off. She clears a table of empty bottles, wipes down the surface with practiced efficiency, resets it with fresh napkins and a clean ashtray. Her movements are economical. No wasted energy. The kind of efficiency that comes from years of training, though no one here recognizes it for what it is. Christopher watches her from his table. His eyes track her movements with the focus of a predator sizing up prey. After a minute, he says something to his buddies. They laugh. One of them pulls out a phone, taps at the screen. If you've ever felt invisible in a room full of people, hit that like button. Because Aaliyah's silence is about to become the loudest sound in this bar. Aaliyah makes 3 more rounds through her section. She takes orders, delivers drinks, smiles at the appropriate moments. Neutral, professional, forgettable. Chief Ramirez orders another beer, and when she sets it down, his gravelly voice barely rises above a murmur. That ring real? Aaliyah meets his eyes. Dark brown, sharp despite his age. You tell me, Chief. Me. Saw one like it once. He picks up the beer but doesn't drink. Long time ago. Man who wore it was the best operator I ever met. Serious as a heart attack. Never bragged, never had to. He pauses. He had a kid, little girl. Used to see them together sometimes on base. That so? Yeah. Ramirez finally takes a sip. Funny thing though, guy disappeared about 10 years back. Mission went sideways. They said equipment failure, bad intel, the usual cover story nonsense. His eyes lock onto hers. But some of us knew better. Aaliyah doesn't respond immediately. She collects 2 empty glasses from his table, wipes away the condensation rings they've left. Sometimes equipment does fail. Sometimes. Ramirez leans back in his booth. And sometimes coordinates get changed. Exfil points get moved. Good men get left behind. He jerks his chin toward Christopher's table. You know Wade was comms liaison for special operations back then? I didn't. Now you do. Ramirez returns his attention to his beer. Watch yourself, kid. Men like that don't like being reminded of their mistakes. Aaliyah nods once and moves on. Her heart rate hasn't changed. Her breathing remains steady. But behind her eyes, calculations are running. Probabilities, timelines, risk assessments. The night wears on. 11 o'clock becomes midnight. The crowd thins slightly as the married operators head home. The single ones settle in for the long haul. Christopher's table orders another round, then another. His voice gets louder with each beer. His jokes get meaner. Hey, Trident girl, he waves her over. Got a question for you. Aaliyah approaches the table, order pad ready. What can I get you? Information. Christopher leans forward, elbows on the table. His buddies are watching with the anticipation of spectators at a boxing match. If that ring's real, you should know basic SEAL stuff, right? So tell me, what's the hand signal for enemy contact rear? The bar around them has gone quiet again. This is entertainment now. A challenge issued in front of witnesses. Aaliyah could walk away, could deflect, could make an excuse. Instead, she shifts her weight, brings her left hand up in a smooth motion, fist closed, 2 fingers extended, pointed backward over her shoulder, textbook perfect. No hesitation. Christopher's smile falters. Lucky guess. Is there anything else? Aaliyah's voice remains level. Or can I get back to work? Yeah, actually. Christopher reaches into his pocket, pulls out the replica ring, holds it up. How about you tell me where you really got this? Because I'm thinking we should check with base security. Make sure nothing's been stolen recently. Go ahead. Aaliyah meets his eyes. Serial numbers on the inside. Cross-reference it with JSOC records if you want. That stops him. For just a moment, uncertainty flickers across his face. Then he laughs it off. JSOC records, please, like they'd have random costume jewelry on file. Try it and see. The standoff lasts 5 seconds. Then Christopher pockets the ring again. Get lost, waitress. Aaliyah turns and walks away. Behind her, she hears one of Christopher's buddies mutter, Dude, what if she's for real? And Christopher's response, sharp and certain, She's not, trust me. By 1 o'clock in the morning, the bar is nearly empty. Grant Hale and his officers left an hour ago. Chief Ramirez departed shortly after, but not before catching Aaliyah's eye one more time and giving her a small nod. Now it's just the hardcore drinkers, the staff cleaning up, and Christopher's table. Aaliyah wipes down the bar surface, collects stray coasters, empties ashtrays. Muscle memory takes over. Her hands know the routine so well she doesn't have to think, which leaves her mind free to plan. 48 hours until Sarah pulls the access logs. 2 more shifts before Christopher potentially transfers to another base. Time is compressing. The kitchen door swings open. Sarah appears, now in civilian clothes, ready to head home. She sidles up to the bar, leans in close. Wade just posted a photo to the base meme page. Check your phone. Aaliyah pulls out her device, opens the private group. There it is. A picture of the replica ring sitting on a bar napkin. The caption reads, "When your jewelry budget exceeds your training record, Trident girl thinks she's one of us. LOL." 47 comments already, most of them laughing, a few defending her, but weakly. One commenter has tagged the base's public affairs office. "He's escalating." Sarah's voice is tight. "This is harassment." "It's strategy." Aaliyah pockets her phone. "He's trying to discredit me before anyone starts asking real questions, which means he's scared. Or he's just a jerk who enjoys making people miserable." "Both can be true." Aaliyah continues cleaning. "The logs. Can you speed it up?" "I'll try. But the archive system requires multiple authentication checks. Too fast, and we trigger security flags." Sarah glances toward Christopher's table. He's paying his tab now, getting ready to leave. "Be careful. Men like that, when they feel cornered, they get dangerous." "I know." Christopher and his crew file out. As he passes the bar, he tosses a dollar bill onto the counter. "For your trouble, Trident girl. Buy yourself a real uniform." The door swings shut behind him. The bar falls quiet except for the low hum of the refrigeration units and the distant sound of waves breaking against the shoreline beyond the base. Aaliyah picks up the dollar, folds it precisely, slips it into her pocket. When the last customer leaves and the manager locks the front door, she helps the other staff finish cleaning. She mops floors, she stocks the coolers, she counts out the register, all of it done with the same methodical efficiency she's shown all night. At 2:30 in the morning, she finally steps out the back door into the cool California night. The parking lot is mostly empty. Her car, a nondescript Honda Civic, sits under a flickering light. She walks toward it, keys already in hand, when her phone buzzes. "Sarah." Text message. "Found something. Archive shows Wade accessed Ghost Team files 3 weeks ago. Same day you started working at the Anchor." Aaliyah reads it twice, then deletes it. She climbs into her car, starts the engine, and sits there for a long moment. The radio plays quietly, some talk show about sports. She's not listening. 3 weeks ago she applied for this job. 2 weeks ago she was hired. 1 week ago she started serving drinks to the men who might know what happened to her father. And Christopher Wade, the man who was communications liaison for Ghost Team's final operation, accessed their sealed files the exact same day she walked through the Anchor's door for the first time. He knows, or suspects, or is checking to make sure his secrets stay buried. Aaliyah pulls the real ring out from under her shirt. The chain catches the dim light. She holds the trident up, studies it like she has 1,000 times before. Looking for answers her father didn't live long enough to give her. The ring is more than jewelry, more than sentiment. It's a key. Literally. Embedded in the band, so small it's invisible to the naked eye, is a microchip. Technology that shouldn't exist in something made 10 years ago. Technology that her father, in his final message, told her would activate when the time was right. She tried scanning it once. The chip appeared dead. No signal, no data. Just a piece of dormant hardware waiting for the correct conditions. But 2 nights ago, something changed. She was closing up the Anchor, alone in the back room, when the ring suddenly grew warm against her skin, just for a second. Just enough to notice. When she pulled it out, a tiny LED built into the underside of the trident was blinking. Red, slow, once every 5 seconds. The chip is waking up, decrypting, preparing to reveal whatever Rafael Torres embedded in it before he died. 48 hours, Sarah said, until the access logs are ready. But the chip, according to the diagnostic tool Aaliyah ran on it yesterday, needs 72 hours to fully decrypt, which means she has to keep Christopher close, keep him visible, keep him thinking she's just a waitress with delusions and a fake ring, until the moment she can prove otherwise. Aaliyah starts driving. The streets around Coronado are quiet at this hour. She passes the main gate, shows her civilian access badge to the guard, and heads toward a small apartment complex 2 miles inland. The kind of place that rents month to month and doesn't ask too many questions. Her apartment is sparse. Bedroom, bathroom, kitchenette, a futon that doubles as couch and bed, a small table with a laptop and scattered papers. The walls are bare except for one item, a photograph, framed, sitting on the otherwise empty bookshelf. Rafael Torres in full combat gear, desert camouflage, a rifle slung across his chest. Behind him, barely visible, the tail section of a helicopter. And standing next to him, small enough that the top of her head barely reaches his elbow, is 8-year-old Aaliyah. She's wearing dog tags that are comically oversized on her small frame. Her father's hand rests on her shoulder. The back of the photo, she knows without looking, carries his handwriting. If you're reading this, the ring worked. Finish what I started. Love you forever, Ghost One. She found the photo 2 years ago in a safety deposit box her mother never mentioned, along with the ring, along with a letter explaining that Rafael Torres wasn't just a SEAL, he was part of something called Legacy Operations, a program that trained family members in secret to continue investigations if the primary operator was killed or compromised. Her mother refused to discuss it, called it conspiracy thinking, urged Aaliyah to move on, live a normal life. But Aaliyah couldn't, because the letter explained that Ghost Team didn't die from equipment failure. They died because someone changed their exfil coordinates, someone on the inside, someone who wore the same uniform, the same Trident. And her father spent his last hour of life encrypting evidence onto a chip small enough to hide in a ring, betting that his daughter would be smart enough, patient enough, and determined enough to finish what he started. Will Aaliyah's cover hold long enough to catch the man who killed her father? Drop a comment. Do you think Christopher suspects something? Aaliyah sits on the edge of her futon, the ring dangling from its chain. The LED is still blinking. Red, slow, steady, like a heartbeat. She pulls out her laptop, opens an encrypted folder. Inside are files she's been building for 18 months. Service records carefully obtained, mission reports where she could find them, personnel transfers, financial records where they're public, and at the center of it all, a timeline. March 14, 2015, Ghost Team inserted into hostile territory. Mission parameters, reconnaissance and target identification. 8 operators, 7 support personnel on standby, 1 communications liaison coordinating from base. Captain Christopher Wade, March 15, 2015. Ghost Team missed their first check-in window, chalked up to radio trouble, happens in mountainous terrain. March 15, 2015, evening, Ghost Team called for emergency exfil, coordinates provided. Helicopters dispatched. March 16, 2015, 0300 hours. Helicopters arrived at exfil point, nobody there, search pattern initiated. March 16, 2015, 0700 hours. Ghost Team found. 4 miles from original exfil coordinates. All 8 operators dead. Investigation ruled it hostile action. Equipment failure prevented them from reaching the correct exfil point. Case closed. Medals awarded posthumously. Families notified. Life moved on. Except Rafael Torres left a message in a ring. And that message is almost ready to speak. Aaliyah closes the laptop. She strips off her work clothes, showers away the smell of beer and fried food, and lies down on the futon. Sleep doesn't come easily. It never does anymore. But eventually, exhaustion wins. She dreams of helicopters, of voices on radios, of her father's face, grim and determined, pressing a ring into her palm. When the time comes, you'll know what to do. Morning arrives gray and cold. Aaliyah is back at the anchor by 10, helping prep for the lunch crowd. The manager, a retired Marine named Collins who runs the place with military efficiency, assigns her the same section, same tables, same routine. Except Christopher Wade walks in at 11:15. He shouldn't be here. His schedule typically has him in training exercises midday, but here he is, with 2 different buddies this time, settling into a booth in Aaliyah's section. He makes eye contact, smiles. It's not friendly. Aaliyah approaches with menus and water glasses. Afternoon, what can I get you started? How about the truth? Christopher leans back, arms spread across the top of the booth. Did some checking last night, called a buddy at JSOC, asked about that serial number you mentioned. Aaliyah sets down the waters, doesn't react. And they said records that old are sealed, can't be accessed without special authorization. His smile widens. Which means you're lying. There's no way you have a legitimate SEAL ring with a traceable serial number. So I'm thinking maybe we escalate this. Talk to the base commander. See about getting you barred from serving here. That your plan? Unless you want to come clean, admit you bought that thing at a surplus store, apologize for stolen valor, then maybe we let this go. One of his buddies, a younger SEAL with a fresh haircut, chimes in. Come on, Wade, maybe ease up. No, Christopher's voice goes hard. This is important. People see someone like her pretending to be connected to us. It cheapens everything we do, everything we sacrifice. He points at Aaliyah. You want to serve drinks? Fine, but don't pretend to be something you're not. Aaliyah pulls out her order pad, pen poised. So that's water all around then? Or did you want to order food? The dismissal is so smooth, so utterly unruffled, that Christopher's face flushes red. He opens his mouth, closes it, then stands abruptly. You know what? Forget it. This place is going downhill anyway. He tosses a $5 bill on the table. That's for wasting my time. He stalks out. His buddies exchange glances, leave their own tip, and follow. The bar is quiet for a moment. Then someone from another table calls out, "Hey, can we get another round?" And life continues. But Aaliyah notices something. On her way past the booth where Christopher sat, she finds it. A napkin, crumpled, written in pen. "You're playing a dangerous game. Walk away before you get hurt." She pockets the napkin, continues her shift, serves lunch to a dozen tables, smiles, chats, blends in, and all the while the ring under her shirt grows warmer. The chip is getting closer. Sarah shows up during the afternoon lull, takes a seat at the bar. Aaliyah brings her a soda. "Update? Manager's getting pressure." Sarah keeps her voice low. "Someone filed a formal complaint. Said you're creating a hostile work environment by making false claims about military service." "Christopher?" "Signed complaint. Went through official channels. Collins is required to investigate." Sarah looks miserable. "I tried to slow it down, but HR is involved now. You might have 48 hours before they tell you to resign. Then we move faster." Aaliyah wipes down the bar. "Where are we on those logs?" 24 hours, maybe less. But Aaliyah, if they fire you, you lose access to this place. Wade won't come around anymore. You'll lose your chance." "I won't lose anything." Aaliyah glances toward the door where Chief Ramirez is walking in for his daily beer. Because Christopher Wade is scared, and scared people make mistakes. That night, Aaliyah closes the bar alone. Collins gave the other staff the evening off. "Budget cuts," he said. But really, he's distancing himself, preparing for when HR tells him to let her go. She understands. He's a good man in a bad position. At 11:45, the last customer leaves. Aaliyah locks the front door, kills most of the lights, and begins the closing routine. Sweep floors, wipe surfaces, count the register, standard procedure. She's in the back room checking inventory when she hears it. The front door, opening, but she locked it, she's certain. Aaliyah moves to the doorway, peers through. A figure stands silhouetted against the dim emergency lighting from the exit signs. Male, 6 feet tall, wearing a hoodie, hands in pockets. "We're closed." Her voice carries no fear, only fact. The figure steps forward. Street light through the windows catches his face. Christopher Wade. He's not smiling now. "Thought we should talk, privately." Aaliyah doesn't move from the doorway. Break-ins are illegal, even for SEALs. Door was open. No, it wasn't. Christopher takes another step. "You're not going to let this go, are you? Whatever you think you know, whatever game you're playing. I'm just serving drinks." "Nonsense." He's closer now, 10 feet. "I checked you out, really checked. Aaliyah Torres, age 29, no military service. Father was Rafael Torres, SEAL Team 5, died 2015. Mother remarried, moved to Oregon. You bounced around between colleges, never finished. Worked retail, worked food service. Then suddenly, 3 months ago, you moved to San Diego. 1 month ago, you apply here." His eyes are hard. That's not coincidence. People need jobs. Not here. Not at this bar. Not when your father... He stops, catches himself. "Not when you could work anywhere else. Maybe I like the atmosphere. Or maybe you're looking for something." Christopher pulls his hands from his pockets. Empty, showing he's not a threat. But his posture says otherwise. "Here's what I think. I think someone told you stories. Conspiracy theories about how your dad died. And you bought into it. Now you're here, playing detective, trying to prove something that isn't true." Aaliyah says nothing. "So let me save you the trouble." Christopher's voice drops. "Your father died because of bad intel and worse luck. It happens. It's tragic. But it's not a conspiracy. There's no cover-up, no hidden truth. Just a good man who died in the line of duty." He pauses. "Go home, Aaliyah. Mourn your dad. But stop this. Before you embarrass yourself. Or worse. Or worse what?" The question hangs in the air. Christopher doesn't answer immediately. He just stares at her. And in that silence, Aaliyah sees confirmation of everything she suspected. Then the ring, hidden under her shirt, suddenly flares hot. Not painfully, but unmistakably. The LED must be going crazy. The chip is close. So close. Christopher sees her reaction. Sees her hand move unconsciously toward her chest. His eyes narrow. "What's wrong?" Nothing. You need to leave. Show me. Excuse me? Whatever's under your shirt. Show me. Christopher takes another step. Because I just realized something. You're not wearing that fake ring anymore. Haven't seen it all day. So where is it? What are you really hiding? Aaliyah backs up, puts the door frame between them. Her right hand drops to her pocket, where her phone sits. One button press away from calling 911. Last chance, Wade. Walk out, or I make this official. For a long moment, they face each other. Then Christopher laughs. It's bitter, tired. You have no idea what you're messing with. The things you don't understand. The consequences. He turns toward the door, stops, looks back. 48 hours. That's how long you have before HR forces Collins to fire you. After that, you're just another civilian with no access and no credibility. Consider that your warning. He leaves. The door swings shut. The lock clicks. Aaliyah waits 5 full minutes before moving. Then she pulls out the ring. The LED is blinking faster now. Every 2 seconds. Red. Urgent. The chip is almost ready. 24 hours, maybe less. She finishes closing the bar in record time, drives home through empty streets, locks herself in her apartment, and opens her laptop to an encrypted message from Sarah. Got the logs. You need to see this. Wade accessed Ghost Team files 53 times in the last 3 weeks. He also accessed your file, your mother's file, even reached out to your high school records. He's been researching you as much as you've been researching him. He knows who you are, and he's preparing for something. Aaliyah reads it 3 times, then she types back, "How long until he transfers?" The response comes immediately. 48 hours. Orders came through this afternoon. He's being reassigned to Virginia. Leaves Saturday morning. Aaliyah looks at the calendar. Today is Thursday. Saturday is in less than 2 days. The chip will decrypt by Friday evening, according to her calculations. Christopher leaves Saturday morning, which means she has a window of approximately 12 hours to expose him before he disappears into the military bureaucracy of the East Coast. 12 hours to prove her father didn't die from bad luck. 12 hours to catch a killer who wears a hero's uniform. The ring grows warmer in her palm. The LED blinks faster. And somewhere in the encrypted data her father died protecting. The truth is waking up. Friday morning arrives with fog thick enough to taste. Aaliyah stands outside the Anchor at 6 a.m., waiting for Collins to unlock the door. Her phone shows 3 missed calls from Sarah, all from the last hour. She doesn't return them yet. Some conversations need to happen face to face. Collins arrives 10 minutes late, keys jangling in his weathered hand. He's 62, retired Marine, with the kind of face that's seen too much to be surprised by anything. But when he looks at Aaliyah, there's something in his expression that wasn't there yesterday. Pity, maybe. Or resignation. Need to talk to you. He unlocks the door, holds it open. Office, now. They walk through the empty bar. Morning light filters through the windows, catching dust motes suspended in air that still smells faintly of last night's beer. Collins's office is barely larger than a closet, crammed with filing cabinets and a desk buried under paperwork. He gestures to the single chair. Aaliyah remains standing. HR called. Collins doesn't sit either. Got a formal complaint. Theft. Says you've been pocketing tips meant for other staff. That's not true. I know. He runs a hand through gray hair gone thin. Checked the cameras myself last night. Watched 3 weeks of footage. You've been clean as a whistle. Honest. Punctual. Never caused trouble until Wade started his campaign. He leans against the desk. But HR doesn't care about cameras. They care about documentation. And Wade's got signatures, witnesses, 3 different staff members willing to testify they saw you take money that wasn't yours. Staff he paid off. Probably, but I can't prove that. Collins looks genuinely sorry. They're giving me no choice here. Either you resign voluntarily or I have to terminate for cause. If you resign, your record stays clean. If I fire you, it follows you everywhere. Aaliyah processes this. The timeline just collapsed. She has hours, not days. When do they want my answer? End of business today, 5 p.m. Collins shifts uncomfortably. For what it's worth, I believe you. Whatever's going on between you and Wade, I don't think you're the problem. But I'm just the manager. I don't make policy. I understand. Aaliyah moves toward the door. I'll have an answer by 5. Aaliyah. Collins stops her. Be careful. I've seen men like Wade before. They don't lose gracefully. She nods and leaves. The bar won't open for another 3 hours, but she starts prep work anyway. Stocking coolers, slicing fruit for garnishes, setting tables. Her hands know the routine well enough that her mind can work on other problems. The ring, still on its chain under her shirt, has stopped blinking. When she checked it at 4 a.m., the LED was solid red. No more pulsing. The chip has finished decrypting, which means the data her father died protecting is ready. She just needs the right moment to reveal it. Her phone buzzes. Sarah. Text message. Where are you? We need to talk. Grant Hale requested your file this morning. Aaliyah steps into the back room, calls her. Sarah picks up on the first ring. He knows. Sarah's voice is tight. Not everything, but enough. He requested your complete background check. When the system flagged it as sealed, he pushed harder, used his command authority. What did he find? Depends on his clearance level. If he's got top secret with special access, he'll see the legacy operations designation. If not, he'll just see blocks of redacted text and a note saying further information requires JSOC authorization. Sarah pauses. Either way, he knows you're not just a bartender. Good. Good? Aaliyah, if he tells Wade, he won't. Aaliyah keeps her voice level. Because Grant Hale was Rafael Torres's executive officer. They served together for 6 years. And if Dad trusted anyone enough to include them in legacy, it would be Grant. You're gambling on a man you've never met. I'm gambling on my father's judgment. Aaliyah checks the time, 7:20 a.m. Christopher's transfer orders. Still active? As of an hour ago, yes. Transport leaves Coronado at 0800 tomorrow. He's already started out processing. Then tonight's the night. Aaliyah makes the decision as she speaks it. The ring's ready, the data's ready. I just need him in the same room as Grant Hale and enough witnesses that he can't run. How? Working on it. Aaliyah ends the call. The morning passes in slow motion. Collins opens the bar at 11. The lunch crowd trickles in. Sailors on liberty, support staff from the base, a handful of civilians who like the atmosphere. Aaliyah works her section with mechanical precision, but her attention is split. Every time the door opens, she looks up, waiting. Christopher doesn't show. By 2 p.m., she's starting to worry. If he's avoiding the anchor, staying away until his transfer goes through, her plan collapses. She needs him here. Needs him confident enough to make a mistake. Then Chief Ramirez walks in. He takes his usual seat at the end of the bar, orders his usual beer. When Aaliyah brings it, he slides a folded napkin across the scarred wood surface. Commander wants to see you. Ramirez's gravelly voice barely carries over the background noise. Tonight, 8 p.m. Said to tell you it's about your father. Aaliyah picks up the napkin, unfolds it. An address written in neat block letters. Not on base, a house in town. He say anything else? Yeah. Ramirez meets her eyes. He said Rafael Torres was the best man he ever served with. And if Torres had a daughter, she deserves the truth. The old SEAL stands, leaves a 20 on the bar, and walks out. Aaliyah pockets the napkin. Her heart is racing now, but her breathing stays controlled. 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, 4 hold. At 3 p.m. Sarah arrives. She's out of uniform, wearing jeans and a civilian jacket, but her posture still screams military. She takes a booth in the back corner. Aaliyah brings water without being asked. Access logs. Sarah slides a USB drive across the table, hidden under a napkin. Everything Wade touched for the last month, including the files he tried to delete. Tried? Military servers keep backups of backups. He erased the main copies, but the archive system held them for 72 hours before permanent deletion. I pulled them 20 minutes before they would have vanished. Sarah's expression is grim. He accessed Ghost Team operational files 53 times, your file 18 times. He also searched for anyone connected to Rafael Torres, your mother, your aunt in Texas, your high school friends. He was building a profile, looking for weak points, or gathering information to discredit you if you ever came forward. Sarah leans in. There's more. Night of March 14th, 2015. Christopher Wade was the communications liaison for Ghost Team's mission. He received their distress call at 2200 hours. Exfil coordinates were provided. But when I cross-referenced with helicopter dispatch logs, the coordinates Wade relayed to aviation were 4 miles off from what Ghost Team transmitted. Aaliyah's fingers tighten on the water glass. Proof? Audio recordings. Standard procedure is to record all tactical communications. The archive kept them. Sarah's voice drops to barely a whisper. You can hear your father's voice, calling in the exfil, giving coordinates, then Wade's voice, relaying different numbers to the pilots. It's right there, clear as day. Why would he change them? That's the piece I can't figure. Unless... Sarah stops, thinks. Unless someone paid him to, or threatened him, the only reason to strand your own team is if you benefit from their silence. Aaliyah takes the USB drive, slips it into her pocket next to the ring. 2 pieces of evidence, 2 different sources, both pointing at the same man. There's something else. Sarah pulls out her phone, shows Aaliyah a text message. Wade sent this to 5 different SEALs an hour ago. Anchor bar, tonight, 8 p.m., buying rounds, big announcement before I transfer. 8 p.m., the same time Grant Hale wants to meet. Aaliyah doesn't believe in coincidences. He's forcing a confrontation, or celebrating his escape. Either way, the anchor is going to be packed tonight. Every SEAL on base who isn't on duty will show up for free drinks and a chance to say goodbye to Wade. Sarah pockets her phone. If you're planning something, that's your audience, but it's also his home turf. 50 guys who think he's a hero. Good, Aaliyah stands. The more witnesses, the better. She works the rest of her shift in a state of focused calm, the kind of mental clarity that comes when all the variables align and there's only one path forward. At 5 p.m., Collins calls her back into his office. He's holding a resignation form. I'm sorry. He sets it on the desk between them. HR wants this signed by close of business. Aaliyah picks up the pen, signs her name, dates it, slides it back across the desk. Collins looks surprised. That's it? No fight? No fight. Aaliyah heads for the door. I'll work tonight's shift. Consider it my notice. You don't have to. I want to. She looks back at him. One last night, for closure. Collins doesn't argue. Maybe he senses something in her tone. Maybe he's just relieved she's making this easy. Either way, he files the paperwork and pretends not to notice when Aaliyah spends the next 2 hours rearranging the bar's tech setup. The anchor has a basic AV system, projector mounted in the ceiling, usually used for sports games, speakers in each corner, a control tablet behind the bar. Aaliyah familiarizes herself with every setting, tests the projector's range, checks the speaker volume. By 7 p.m., she knows exactly how the system works. The evening crowd starts arriving at 7:30. SEALs, mostly. Some with dates, some in groups. They're here for Christopher's party, his unofficial goodbye before shipping out to Virginia. The mood is celebratory, loud. Someone feeds quarters into the jukebox and rock music fills the space. Christopher arrives at 7:45. He's wearing civilian clothes, jeans and a polo shirt, but he walks like he owns the room. His crew follows him in, 6 other SEALs who treat him like a celebrity. They take over the largest table, right in the center of the bar. Christopher orders a round of shots for everyone. When Aaliyah brings them, he doesn't look at her, doesn't acknowledge her existence. But she sees his eyes flick toward her pocket, toward where the ring might be. He's still wondering, still worried. At 7:55, Commander Grant Hale walks through the door. He's in civilian clothes too, but there's no mistaking his bearing. Conversation's quiet as junior personnel spot him. He nods to a few familiar faces, then takes a booth near the back. Alone. Waiting. The bar is packed now, 50 people, maybe more. Standing room only near the walls. Aaliyah works the floor with practiced efficiency, delivering drinks, clearing empties, navigating the crowd. She's invisible again, just the help. Nobody pays attention. At 8:10 p.m., Christopher stands up, taps a knife against his glass. The bar quiets, all eyes turn to him. All boys. Wanted to say a few words before I head east. Christopher's voice carries easily. He's used to commanding attention. Been stationed here at Coronado for 6 years. Best posting of my career. Worked with the best operators in the world. Made friendships that'll last a lifetime. He raises his glass. To the brotherhood, to the teams, and to everyone who serves with honor. Hoo-yah! The response is immediate, loud, unified. Christopher drinks. The crowd drinks with him. Then he sets his glass down and his expression shifts, becomes more serious. But tonight's also about integrity, about protecting what the Trident means. His eyes find Aaliyah. Because lately I've seen people disrespecting that symbol, wearing fake rings, making false claims, and I think it's time we address that. The bar goes quiet, uncomfortable. People are looking around trying to figure out who he's talking about. There's a woman working here. Christopher points directly at Aaliyah. Claims her father was a SEAL. Claims she has a real Trident ring. But I've done my homework, checked records, talked to people. And guess what? She's lying. She's a waitress with delusions trying to ride on the reputation of real warriors. Aaliyah stands perfectly still, doesn't react, doesn't move. So here's my challenge. Christopher's voice rises. Anyone can wear a ring. Show me proof or admit you're fake. Because I'm done watching stolen valor go unchecked in my house. Grant Hale starts to stand, but Aaliyah catches his eye, shakes her head slightly. Not yet. Grant settles back into his booth, but his jaw is tight. You want proof? Aaliyah's voice cuts through the silence, clear, steady, carrying to every corner of the room. Christopher turns to face her fully. Yeah, I want proof. Real proof. Not stories, not fake jewelry. Aaliyah sets down her tray, walks toward Christopher's table. The crowd parts for her, 50 pairs of eyes watching. She stops 3 feet from him, close enough to make this personal. You said check the records. Aaliyah pulls the ring out from under her shirt, lets it dangle on its chain, catching the overhead lights. So let's check them. Christopher laughs. We've been through this. That's a prop. Then you won't mind if I activate it. Aaliyah lifts her left sleeve, revealing a small bandage on her inner wrist, the kind used for minor cuts or abrasions. She peels it off slowly. Underneath is a scar, small, rectangular, maybe 1.5 centimeters long, surgical precision. Christopher's smile falters. What is that? Aaliyah doesn't answer. Instead, she removes the ring from its chain, rotates it 3 times in her fingers, a specific pattern, deliberate. Then she presses the trident emblem directly against the scar. For a moment, nothing happens. Then light. A small blue glow emanates from beneath her skin. Not painful, not bright, just visible enough that everyone nearby can see it. The embedded chip activating, communicating with the ring, unlocking. What the? Christopher steps back. The projector in the ceiling hums to life. The screen normally reserved for football games flickers. And suddenly, text appears. Large, clear, undeniable. Encrypted log. Ghost Team Final Transmission. Date 2015.0314. Time 2247. Zulu exfil. Coordinates. Transmitted 34.7821 dg 69.1452 dg. Coordinates received by aviation 34.7124 dg 69.2187 dg. Discrepancy 4.3 miles. Source of alteration Captain C. Wade, comms liaison. The bar erupts, not in sound, but in collective gasps. 50 people inhaling at once. Someone near the back says, "Holy cow." Another voice, younger, almost whispers, "That's JSOC encryption format." Christopher's face goes pale. He looks at the screen, at Aaliyah, at the ring still pressed against her wrist. That's fake. That's got to be fake. Is it? Grant Hale's voice cuts through the chaos. He's standing now, moving toward the center of the room. His expression is carved from stone. Because I recognize that format, Captain. I was the executive officer for Ghost Team. I wrote half those reports. That's authentic. The crowd parts for him. Grant stops beside Aaliyah, looks at the projection. His hands are trembling slightly. Where did you get this? Aaliyah finally releases the ring from her wrist. The blue light fades, but the projection remains. My father left it for me, embedded in a chip small enough to hide in jewelry. Took 10 years and the right biometric signature to unlock. Your father. Grant's voice is barely above a whisper. Rafael Torres. Ghost 1. Aaliyah reaches into her pocket, pulls out a photograph. Old, creased, a Polaroid that's seen better days. She hands it to Grant. He takes it with hands that shake, studies the image. 8 men in combat gear standing in front of a helicopter, and beside them, a girl barely tall enough to reach their elbows. She's wearing dog tags that hang almost to her waist. Grant flips the photo over, reads the handwriting on the back. His eyes close. If you're reading this, the ring worked. Finish what I started. He opens his eyes, looks at Aaliyah. Your call sign? Ghost 7. Aaliyah stands straighter. My father was Ghost 1. I'm the asset he left behind. Justice is about to be served, but this is just the beginning. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what happens when they find Major Cross. Grant Hale doesn't move for 3 full seconds. Then, slowly, deliberately, he straightens to attention. Brings his right hand up in a textbook perfect salute. The bar freezes. A commander doesn't salute civilians, doesn't salute junior personnel. The gesture means something. Recognition, respect, validation. 4 other SEALs in the crowd, older ones who might have known Rafael Torres, follow Grant's lead, hands rising, back straight, eyes forward. Christopher looks around wildly. This is insane. You can't possibly believe. Shut your mouth. Grant's voice is ice. You'll speak when spoken to. Sir, I said shut your mouth. Grant lowers his salute, turns to face Christopher fully. Ghost Team transmitted coordinates at 2200 hours on March 14th, 2015. I was on the operations deck. I heard the transmission, wrote them down myself. He points at the projection. Those numbers up there? Those are the numbers Rafael Torres gave us. The coordinates you relayed to aviation? 4 miles off? Want to explain that discrepancy, Captain? Christopher's mouth opens, closes, opens again. Equipment error, signal interference. It happens in mountainous terrain. Not like this. Grant pulls out his phone, taps the screen. Because I kept copies. Against regulations, sure. But I kept them. Never sat right with me, how that mission ended. And now I'm looking at my notes from that night. He reads from his phone. Quote, Wade confirmed coordinates verbally before transmission to aviation. Repeated them twice for verification. End quote. He looks up. You confirmed those coordinates were correct, then changed them. The room is silent except for breathing. 50 people holding their breath. Aaliyah reaches into her other pocket, pulls out the USB drive Sarah gave her. There's more. Audio recordings from that night. Standard tactical communications, archived per military protocol. She looks at Grant. Commander, if I may? Grant nods. Aaliyah walks to the bar's control tablet, plugs in the USB drive, navigates the system with the confidence of someone who's practiced this exact sequence a dozen times. The projector switches from text to audio interface. She presses play. Static. Then a voice. Distorted by distance and radio interference, but clear enough. Urgent. Overwatch, this is Ghost 1, mission complete, requesting immediate exfil. Coordinates as follows. 34.7821 north, 69.1452 east. Repeat, 34.7821 north, 69.1452 east. Multiple hostiles closing on our position. Time is critical. Rafael Torres, Aaliyah's father. His voice exactly as she remembers it from childhood. Calm under pressure, professional, alive. She closes her eyes, listens. Another voice, younger, also distorted. Ghost 1, Overwatch copies. Stand by for aviation relay. A pause, maybe 30 seconds. Background noise of radio chatter, someone typing, then the younger voice again. Aviation, Overwatch. Emergency exfil requested. 8 personnel. Coordinates 34.7124 north, 69.2187 east. Repeat. 34.7124 north, 69.2187 east. Priority Alpha. How copy? Different numbers. Clearly different. Not even close to what Ghost Team transmitted. A third voice, calm and professional. Helicopter pilot. Overwatch, aviation copies. 34.7124 north, 69.2187 east. ETA 30 minutes. Flight of 2. Standing by. The recording ends. The bar is absolutely silent. Not a glass moving, not a breath taken loudly enough to hear. Grant Hale's face has gone from pale to flushed, anger radiating off him like heat. That second voice, Overwatch relay, that's you, Wade, isn't it? Christopher says nothing. I asked you a question, Captain. Christopher swallows hard. I relayed the coordinates I received. Nonsense. Aaliyah taps the tablet. We just heard you receive different coordinates and relay wrong ones. She advances the audio file, finds another section, plays it. Rafael Torres' voice again, more urgent this time. Overwatch, Ghost 1. Where is aviation? Hostiles within 500 meters. We need exfil now. Overwatch. Aviation is en route to your position, Ghost 1. ETA 15 minutes. Rafael Torres. Negative. They're not at our coordinates. We're at 34.7821 north, 69.1452 east. I say again. The transmission cuts off. Static. Then silence. Someone in the crowd makes a choking sound. Aaliyah keeps her face neutral, but inside something is breaking. That was her father's last transmission, his last words to command, trying desperately to correct the error that would kill him. Grant Hale looks like he might be sick. You heard him. He told you the coordinates were wrong, and you did nothing. I didn't. Christopher stops, realizes he's admitting guilt. This is out of context. You don't understand the full picture. Then explain it. Grant steps closer. Explain why 8 operators died because you sent helicopters to the wrong location. Explain why you've spent 10 years covering this up. Explain why you tried to intimidate this woman out of exposing the truth. Christopher looks around the room. Every eye is on him. Every face shows some mixture of shock, disgust, or anger. These are his brothers, his community, and they're looking at him like they've never seen him before. There were circumstances, Christopher's voice cracks. Things you don't know, things that were above my pay grade. What circumstances justify letting your own team die? I received orders, Christopher shouts it, loud enough that people flinch. Orders from someone higher up the chain. I was told to relay those specific coordinates. I was told not to correct them. I was following orders. From who? Grant demands. Christopher's mouth snaps shut. He's said too much, gone too far, and now he's trapped. Aaliyah touches the ring against her wrist again. The blue light returns, brighter this time. The projector flickers and new text appears. Voice recording, 2015-0314, 2145. Zulu participants, Captain C. Wade, unknown. She plays it, a phone conversation. Clear enough despite being a decade old. Christopher's voice, younger but recognizable. Sir, I don't understand. Ghost Team is calling for exfil. Why are we changing their coordinates? A second voice, older, gravelly, authority in every syllable. Because Torres is on to us, Captain. He's been asking questions about the supply contracts, looking into equipment manifests. If he comes back, he connects the dots. He testifies, and we all go to prison. Christopher. But sir, this is murder. Unknown. This is survival. You relay the coordinates I gave you. Aviation goes to the wrong spot. Ghost Team gets overrun. Tragic accident happens in war. You do this, Captain, and your career is golden. Refuse, and you'll be lucky to avoid a courts-martial for the procurement fraud you've already been part of. Silence on the recording. Then Christopher's voice, barely a whisper. Who is this? I need a name. I need to know who's ordering this. The older voice chuckles. You already know who I am. You've been taking my money for 6 months. Now earn it. Relay the coordinates. Let nature take its course. And Wade, if you ever breathe a word of this, remember that I have recordings of every payment you accepted, every report you falsified. You're in this as deep as I am. The recording ends. The bar explodes. Not with sound, but with movement. SEALs surging toward Christopher, voices overlapping, hands reaching. Grant Hale steps between them and Christopher, arms out. Stand down, all of you. This is not how we handle this. The crowd reluctantly backs off, but the energy in the room is volatile, dangerous. Christopher looks around wildly. That recording is fake. Has to be. Anyone can fake audio these days. The metadata checks out. Aaliyah's voice cuts through his protest. Timestamps, encryption signatures, chain of custody documentation. My father knew he was being set up. He knew someone in the command structure was dirty, so he recorded everything, encrypted everything, and left it for someone who could finish the job. And who was the someone giving orders? Grant demands. The voice on that recording, who was it? Christopher's face crumbles. All the bravado, all the arrogance drains away. He looks like a man standing on the edge of a cliff. Major Richard Cross. He was in charge of procurement for Special Operations Command. He was running a fraud scheme, selling equipment to contractors, buying cheaper replacements, pocketing the difference. Torres found discrepancies in the inventory reports, started asking questions. Cross needed him gone. And you helped him. Grant's voice is filled with disgust. I didn't have a choice. Christopher's shout is desperate. Cross had evidence I'd taken bribes, small ones at first. Just a few thousand here and there, but it was enough to end my career, end my freedom. He owned me. You had a choice. Aaliyah's voice is quiet, controlled, but everyone hears it. You chose your career over 8 lives. You chose money over brothers. You chose to let my father die rather than face consequences for your own mistakes. Christopher looks at her, really looks at her, sees not a waitress but a woman who spent 10 years planning this moment, who's sacrificed normalcy and safety to expose him, who's won. I'm sorry. It sounds genuine. Broken. I've lived with this every single day, every time I see a SEAL Trident, every time someone thanks me for my service. I know what I did, and I've been trying to... Don't! Grant cuts him off. Don't you dare try to make this about your guilt. 8 men died, 8 families were destroyed, and you've been walking around wearing that uniform, acting like a hero while lying through your teeth. He pulls out his phone. Base security, Commander Grant Hale. I need MPs at the Anchor Bar immediately. I have a captain in custody pending courts-martial for multiple counts of criminal negligence and conspiracy to commit murder. 2 minutes later, 3 military police officers arrive. They take Christopher into custody. No struggle, no resistance. He just goes, head down, hands behind his back. As they lead him past Aaliyah, he stops. For what it's worth, he says quietly, your father was the best of us. He deserved better. He did. Aaliyah's voice is steady. And now everyone will know that. They take him away. The bar remains silent for a long moment. Then Grant Hale turns to face the crowd. Listen up. What you witnessed tonight is classified. Do not discuss this outside secure channels. Do not post about this on social media. This is an active investigation into corruption at the highest levels of command. Operational security applies. Understood? A chorus of "Yes, sir" replies. Grant nods. Then he turns to Aaliyah. Walk with me. They step outside into the cool night air. The fog has rolled back in, thick and wet. Grant leads her away from the door toward the parking lot where they can speak without being overheard. Legacy operations. Grant speaks without preamble. Your father recruited you before he died? Not exactly. Aaliyah pulls her jacket tighter. He left instructions, contingencies. He knew something might happen to him. So he prepared me, trained me without me realizing it was training. Left clues I wouldn't understand until I was ready. She looks at the ring in her palm. I've spent 10 years preparing for this moment. And Cross? Do you know where he is? Retired, lives in San Diego, gated community in La Jolla. Aaliyah recites the address from memory. I've been watching him for 3 months, waiting for the right time. Grant pulls out his phone, makes a call. This is Commander Hale. I need NCIS dispatched to an address in La Jolla. Subject is retired Major Richard Cross, wanted for conspiracy, fraud, and accessory to murder of 8 Navy SEALs. He provides the address, hangs up, looks at Aaliyah. They'll have him in custody within the hour. Good. Your father, Grant's voice catches. He was my mentor, my friend. When he died, I knew something was wrong. The story didn't add up, but I had no proof, no leverage, and my commanding officer at the time shut down every inquiry I tried to open. He looks at the ring. He really left all that evidence in there? Everything. Recordings, documents, financial records showing Cross's fraud, communications logs, enough to convict a dozen people. Aaliyah slips the ring back onto its chain. He spent his last hours of life building a case he knew he'd never get to prosecute. So you did it for him. I did it for the truth. Aaliyah starts walking toward her car. And because 8 men deserve justice. Grant follows. What will you do now? Legacy operations technically doesn't exist anymore. There's no official position for you. I don't want a position. Aaliyah reaches her Honda. I want my father's name cleared. I want the record to show that Ghost Team died because of corruption, not incompetence. And I want every person involved held accountable. You'll get that, I promise. Grant extends his hand. For what it's worth, your father would be proud. Aaliyah shakes his hand. Thank you, Commander. She climbs into her car, starts the engine. As she's pulling out of the parking lot, her phone buzzes. Text message. Unknown number. Ghost 7. Tower 4 sends regards. Your father's last target is still active. Coordinates attached. Below the message, a file downloads automatically. Aaliyah pulls over, opens it. Inside are satellite images, geographic coordinates, and a name, Senator Patricia Vance, Defense Appropriations Committee. Aaliyah stares at the screen. She replies to the unknown number. Who is this? 3 dots appear, someone typing, then, a friend of your father's, someone who's been watching, waiting. The coordinates lead to evidence Vance buried 15 years ago. Evidence that will bring down the entire conspiracy. But you'll need to move fast. She knows Wade was arrested. She's already covering her tracks. Aaliyah sits in her car, the ring warm against her chest, her father's voice still echoing in her mind. Finish what I started. She types back. How much time do I have? Response. 72 hours, maybe less. After that, the evidence disappears forever. Aaliyah shifts her car into drive. toward the coordinates Tower 4 sent, because this isn't over. The truth isn't fully exposed, and Ghost One's daughter has work to finish. As she drives through the fog-shrouded streets of San Diego, her phone buzzes one more time, a voicemail. She plays it on speaker. Chief Ramirez's gravelly voice fills the car. "Miss Torres, wanted you to know, words spreading fast. SEALs are talking. Your father's being remembered the way he deserves, as a hero, as a man who died trying to stop corruption." A pause. "He left you his dog tags. Been keeping them safe all these years. Figure it's time you had them. Stop by tomorrow. I'll be at the bar." The message ends. Aaliyah drives on. The ring pulses warm against her skin. And somewhere ahead, in the fog and the darkness, the next target waits.